Well, good afternoon or good morning, everybody, depending on where you are. I wanted to throw a Saturday SitRep out. I haven't been very consistent in those. And first and foremost, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm trying to make sure I got my papers in the right order here. So I was looking through these reports, and I actually thought I'm going to change it up a little bit. And instead of reading the variety of things going on in the world right now, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown, and this is going to be in no particular order. In the past, I've kind of broken them down by regions, Africa, by continents, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, North, South America. I'm not going to do that this time. But what I will do, I'll start off with, aside from the good morning or good afternoon, is a Israel-Hamas conflict situational report. And it's a bit dated, so it's about a week old at this time. And the reason I'm sending it out a little late is for OPSEC. Because I have access to this, I don't want to read it the day I get them, because there may be other people who don't need to know this information. By now, this is probably mostly public sector. Just a reminder for those of you who have family in the Middle East, specifically in Lebanon, Gaza, God forbid, Israel, or thereabouts, and they're having difficulty getting out. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem and the Beirut office, and the branch office in Tel Aviv have resumed appointments for regular passports and other consular services. Appointments must be made through the combined appointment system. Appointments are free, and third-party services to make appointments are not required, nor are they recommended. So if you have someone overseas who's trying to get their paperwork to come back home from the war zone, or they're trying to get there, that's the way to go. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem and the branch office will continue to accept walk-ins for U.S. citizens who do not have a valid passport of any nationality between 8 to 8:30 a.m. Monday through Friday to receive a limited validity emergency passport. So again, if you have family or friends who got caught when the October 7th attack happened and they've been stuck in country, they need to check with the embassy and get that information out there. Departure options. Ben Gurion Airport remains open with commercial flights available. Please consult directly with your airline and check the operating status of the airport before traveling to the airport. There are no further U.S. government chartered flights planned. Should you need assistance to depart Israel, including financial assistance to purchase tickets, please contact the U.S. Embassy. And they give some more information. You go to state.gov and get that information there, or you can arrive at the embassy in person. Remember, between 8 and 5 is the hours. 8 and 8:30 are the walk-ins local time, not my time. Update to the travel advisory. The travel advisory has been updated to reflect the security situation in Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza, and travel restrictions for U.S. government employees under Chief of Mission Security Responsibility. U.S. government employees in Israel under COM security responsibility are currently restricted from personal travel. And it lists a variety of places specifically in the war zone. So, mental note, if you have family, friends, my own daughter actually was in Istanbul. And I was like, that's not the best part of the world to go to. And she goes, I know, but technically it's not in the war zone. And we planned this trip for months and we paid for it. So we're going. So, adventure girl over there. Imagine the roaming prepper's daughter likes to roam around the freaking world and go see shit. And she gave me an awesome Stein. From Budapest. She went to Hungary too. So little Miss Travel over there. I think she's hit more countries, almost as many countries as I have. And she's, my child. So I'm proud. And at the same time, a little stressed out because of everything going on. But anyway, I digress. Major updates. Okay, Green Line, Israel. The 4-day ceasefire, which started November 24th, had been extended several times. However, details of the most recent extension have not been announced. Ceasefire is largely held over the period it was indicated. As we all know, at this point in time, it already started with the fighting again. Gaza, the Israeli military continues to allow only one directional traffic from North Gaza to the south of Wadi Gaza via Shalah al-Din Road. Residents are not permitted to enter the sea or to go within 1 kilometer of the border with Israel. The Israelis are super puffed up right now. If civilians go there and they're not trying to actually surrender, they're just kind of trying to escape into Israel to get away from the war, they're probably going to get shot by the IDF. So again, if you are a Westerner, European, Turkish, even African, you're a business person, vacationer, and you got caught there, go to your embassy. If you're not an American, go to the Canadian embassy or the Mexican embassy. Mexico, I believe, chartered a boatload of flight with Aeromexico and actually got all the Mexican populace out, along with a handful of Canadians and Americans that they were able to squeeze into one of the planes. So really sad situation. My daughter's company she had just stopped working for actually was headquartered in Tel Aviv. And she recently reported to me that they actually lost a couple of employees, one of which was in that first subdivision. After they attacked the rock concert and they started attacking the towns, they hit that one subdivision we all heard about, and they tore up the subdivision, and they were going house by house. That family was lost. He was an IDF guy. Allegedly, he grabbed what firearm he had and tried to defend his home, and he fell doing so. So definitely not a safe situation in that part of the world. You can also exit, according to them, aside from Israel, you can go over to Jordan. Jordan is accepting Americans, Canadians, Mexicans, whoever else, Europeans with proper documentation. If you're in a bind, you can request an emergency visit, and they'll probably confine you until they make sure you're a good guy and not a bad guy, and then they will let you go to your embassy or consulate, or they will summon a representative of the respective consulate to the border. So Jordan is allowing people to flee, non-Israeli, non-Palestinian, like everyone else who happen to be in the country. They're letting everyone get out. So before I move on to the next subject, State Department, Consular Affairs, toll-free numbers 1-833-890-9595. Again, I'm going to read that again. 1-833-890-9595. That's the toll-free number. U.S. citizens in Israel there's a local number here, 03-519-7426. Again, local Israeli, 03-519-7426, if I'm reading that correctly, because I can't find my glasses again. And I got a new pair, and I can't find the old one or the new one, because it's been one of those weeks. So that situation is ugly, to say the least. The UN actually voted to condemn Israel. Jackson, if you go up on that table again, I will beat the fur off your butt. Or I will send Bentley after you, and he will kick your ass. Do you want to get beat up by Bentley? Because I'll give him the command, he'll kick your butt. He's waving his tail at me like, I was just checking to see if there were snacks up there. Go on, stupid boy, go to bed. Go somewhere else. Dingbat. And he's getting on the coffee table. He gets on his hind legs like a meerkat. And I can see him, and I called his name, and he looks at me, and his ears went down like, I think I screwed up. Anyway, so bad situation there. And as we've mentioned, and a lot of the creators are mentioning it, the emotions behind this one are way worse than the emotions I saw with the Russia-Ukraine. It's almost as bad as the whole BLM police thing and the Rona behavior. People are really getting ugly, and this situation is digging up some really old prejudices and hatreds and anti-Semitism and xenophobia and all this shit. And unfortunately, most rational people will be like, well, I know that all Muslims are not like that. I know that all Jews are not like this. I know that all Hispanics are not like this. But you have that 1% of assholes who go and disrupt everything. Those are the ones we got to watch for. We've all been preaching it. Speaking of watching your six, here's some notifications from the State Department and a collaboration of several governments. So I'll read them out. Demonstration alerts. United Kingdom, December, well, that's already passed. No, this weekend, 16, 17. There will be also over the next few weeks through the new year, demonstrations in the UK, countrywide protests. Demonstrations in Slovenia, pro-Palestinian protests expected in multiple locations. Finland has updated their eastern border crossing with Russia because they're having some kind of tussle over there that we're not really hearing about. And Russia, of course, updated their eastern border crossing with Finland. So, Mongolia, if you're going to Asia, Mongolia has fuel shortages and diesel shortages in various places. There are long lines, which blows my mind because right now the price of oil is going down because we're getting a bit of an oversupply because the economy is not good, right? The economy, kind of like during COVID, the economy went down. People aren't burning as much energy. There's more available. The fact that it's not getting to them is a problem. In Mongolia, the government will begin limiting industrial electricity usage. Sri Lanka did the same thing a few months ago. Like I've said before, Kuala Lumpur, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Mongolia, all these like mid-sized, not small, but mid-sized economies, when they start doing stuff like this, they're the canaries in the cave. Once they start doing it, it's only a matter of time before Europe, US, Canada start seeing rolling blackouts, which we're probably going to see this year. Hopefully not, but continuing on, so Kuala Lumpur, also with protests over the next few weeks. Let's see, North Macedonia, which would be near Greece, for those of you unfamiliar, also increased crime expected during the holiday season due to pickpocketing and petty crime because of the holidays as well as because of financial times. Iceland planned protests outside the U.S. Embassy. Another one in Slovakia, Croatia, security reminders for the holiday season. They remain heightened because of transnational terrorist organizations. This is from their government, not ours. Copenhagen, Denmark. And okay, this one's a funny one. Security alert. Copenhagen, Denmark are playing a, is it a rugby tournament? Football, so I guess soccer for those of us in the U.S. Soccer tournament, and they expect traffic and possible fighting. Wow, they should go see our Super Bowl. Morocco also planned protests. Sudan planned protests. Democratic Republic of Congo, a political rally unrelated to the Israeli situation. That's something else. And it goes on and on. Also, Mexico is reporting, with the increased tourism for the holiday season. A lot of people think, going to Mexico to go to church on Christmas Day and see the traditional Spanish ornamentation in the smaller towns is really pretty. And one day I'm hope to do that myself. Be aware of pickpockets and looters and et cetera, et cetera. So, folks, as you can see, things are not settled, but they seem a bit stable. Nothing here really jumped out at me. Now, one thing that I didn't mention in this one, is Maersk, M-A-E-R-S-K, the transport company. Those of you who watch Captain Phillips, it was the Maersk, Alabama that got captured by the Somali pirates. Maersk is now no longer transiting the Red Sea. So they're sending all their cargo around Africa or through the Pacific. That's going to amazingly increase the amount of time and fuel they spend getting products from A to B, which means that will cause an inflationary effect on goods. Now, what goods could come through there? All sorts of stuff goes with Maersk. They're the biggest transport company in the world, and it's going through the Red Sea. It could be ranging from oil to auto parts, to clothing. So normally I try and give you guys a specific, like, Ukraine is fighting with Russia, therefore less wheat, less natural gas, less fertilizer, because they all go together. In this case, it's kind of hard to tell you because I don't know. This is, If you look at the maritime maps, there's a shitload of boats that go through this area. So all I can tell you, if you need something, it's better to get it sooner than later. I don't expect the inflationary pressure is going to go down anytime in the near future. More importantly, if you are traveling, maintain your situational awareness, because I promise you, if they're having all these protests in Europe, we're going to have them here in the US. We've already had them. We saw in Los Angeles, I made a video on this the other day, about I see dumb people everywhere. The commuters finally got pissed. They got out of their vehicles and started dragging the protesters off the bridge and then throwing their signs off the overpass. There was some punches thrown. The cops had to arrest a few people, and then try to calm down all the citizens, because all the people got pissed off. There were actually, I found out later, that LA overpass that got blocked, 2 school buses of elementary school kids were stuck there for 4 hours. Little guys. You know, 1, they were hot and tired. 2, somebody had to pee. And I mean, what if there was an emergency? If one of those children had a physical emergency, had a seizure, stroke, fell down and hit their head, how the hell's the ambulance going to get to them when you have created this kerfuffle on this freaking bridge? And by the time California Highway Patrol showed up, the civilians were already pissed off, so they removed the assholes and were already starting to drive through. I literally watched this, what looked like a big Spanish guy had grabbed this blue-haired white kid. I can't describe him any other, some punk. He grabbed him in a straight-up headlock, like you would you're pulling down a steer or a calf. Had him in a headlock and then just dragged him off by his head and threw him in the medium, just like, get the hell out of the way. People are pissed off. People can't afford Christmas gifts. I just had lunch with some colleagues, and every one of them, almost every one of us, is doing some kind of side hustle, whether it's YouTube, they're doing arts and crafts, the wife's doing floral stuff, he's doing landscaping, one guy does electrical work. Get adaptable. Make yourself available for other stuff. Try to think outside the box. I don't think it's going to settle down anytime in the near future. Now, keep in mind, eventually, every market comes up, right? I'm sure when the Roman Empire started to collapse, everyone was like, it's the end of the world. And guess what? Humans are still here. We're like roaches. We're really good at surviving, but not all of us. A lot of us keel over. So don't be the killed over. Hey, Jackson, come here. Hush. Anyway, on that note, I guess that concludes. Hey, well, that concludes my news. So I'm gonna go get this delivery, and you guys be safe out there. Take care.